all my co-teachers. And here, before I begin, may I ask you one question? Like, am I also supposed to turn off my video, sir?
No, ma'am. As a facilitator, you are allowed to open your video.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. And with folded
This is
hands, I welcome all the wonderful educators throughout CPAN India. They have been associated with us, and this is indeed a wonderful opportunity. And without further ado, because we are having a short time to discuss so many things, so please do allow me to share my screen, and we are going to be on a journey of this formative assessments. As sir has already shared with you, like we will be talking about interactive formative assessments. So whatever I'll be talking in English language, the same will be displayed on the screen in Hindi language, so that will be facilitating today's session in both languages. So you will be able to understand the same. So if we talk about interactive formative assessment, what does it mean? FA. Do you frequently use FAs in your classroom? If so, do ping in the chat box. What do you mean by FA? Is it only formative assessment or is it something else for you? Do ping in the chat box. I will begin today's session after reading your comments. Let me see if you are sharing your responses. Yes, yes. Yeah. So teachers, they're writing, yes, they are using formative assessments in their classes. So is FA only stands for formative assessment? It is daily understanding of the students. Yes, wonderful. Project works. So yeah, any kind of examples you want to share, you're most welcome. Sadat Fatima ji has written project work. Yeah, Gurvinder ji, yes, in education, we use FA's written work. It's a continuous process. Praveen ma'am, yeah. No, I guess it also means frequent assessment. Wonderful. That is another, abbreviations from that. You have given this frequent assessment. Wonderful. Reading reflection, yeah, it's peer reading, peer learning, slips, assessment through quizzes, role plays. Wonderful, wonderful. So here if you agree with me, I just would like to say FAs, not only they mean formative assessment, ma'am has given another form, it is frequent assessment. If I say it is fearless assessment, do you agree with that? Fearless assessment. Let me see your responses. True. Yes. Usually we are scared of, our children, they are scared of. When we were children, we were also scared of these kinds of assessments, summative assessments. Oh my God, we are having pen and paper tests. We have to appear, we have to prepare for it. Do not know how many marks we'll score, what all grades will be there. So that always creates some kind of stress and anxiety in all the children. So we do not want our children to have any kind of anxiety or stress. Rather, we want them to prepare for their final summative examination. And for that, let us today begin a session on formative assessments. So when we talk about formative assessments, like it actually creates a joyful, engaging, interactive environment in the classroom. So I would like to talk about this. Like before we dive into the formative assessment strategies, I have a whole, full pack of wonderful formative assessment strategies for you. But we should know in detail about what do we mean by formative assessment? As most of you have already written, frequent assessments, and I have added onto it fearless assessments, so that we can prepare our students for the summative examination for assessment of learning, or maybe the year end, or maybe the half yearly, whatever we say, the midterm examinations, right? So here you go. I would like to say As frequently as a chef needs to check a dish for taste, teachers should check for understanding by using international, intentional, or formative, learner-centered formative assessment strategies, right? When we cook food at our home, before serving the same to our guests, do we check? Do we taste it? Is everything right? Perfectly right? The salt, the spices, the whatever the condiments we have added, is it perfect or not? Let me see. Right, and the chat box should keep on going. Yeah, very tools can be used. Somebody has written, yes. Now I'm asking, do we check before serving the dish to the guest? Yes, we check. Why? Why do we check it? Yeah, yummy Gurvinderji. Yes. Why do we check it? Because, yes, please do share. Why do we check it? It should be yummy. Yeah. Yes. Is good or bad? Maybe what would be the feedback by the guest? Because we want to be perfect, wonderful. We want to be perfect in our presentation, right? To make other person happy. So there are our own expectations. So that's why we just check it. You all must have here, I cannot stop myself from quoting an example. Like we all have read, Shabri ji, she wanted to offer fruit bait to Sri Ramchandra ji. Before that, she tasted. She was tasting and she was serving only those fruits that were, you see, sweet. So that is a formative assessment. We want to check whether our students, they are ready for the summative assessment. Are they ready to appear in the final examination? For that, we need to prepare them for final examination using different formative assessment strategies, right? So snapshots, they are actually, I can talk about, they are the snapshots of understanding. We keep on capturing like what our students they are understanding at frequent intervals. Well said by some of the participants in the beginning of the session, like this a kind of frequent assessment. I mean, as and when you can conduct. There is no hard and fast rule, like you have to conduct it after the end of the lesson, mid of the lesson, or the beginning of the lesson. It depends upon you. If you want to conduct the same in the beginning of the session as diagnostic assessments, maybe you want to conduct it during the flow of the lesson, during the flow of your period, when you are conducting the same, you can check whether the students they are understanding or they are properly engaged in the classroom. Or maybe at the end of your lesson, you can conduct the same to check whether the students they have understood, or if they have understood, to what level they have understood. I mean, you wanted to teach something, have they fully grasped or not? Yes, Guruvinderji, early correction to check the process. Yeah, if Anshuji has written, if any imperfection, we can make it perfect. Yes. So that is early assessment. If as a chef, if because you have cooked the dish, you have prepared the dish, you want to check it. If something is missing, you will be able to add it and make it perfect to bring it to that level. But once the same has been served in front of the guest, you will not be able to make changes. That is a final assessment of your work. So it's our duty, it's our job to make our children ready for the final summative examination. So let's all learn about various interesting activities that we can conduct in the classroom for these fearless assessments, I would like to say. Through fearless assessments, we will be able to make our children ready for final summative assessments. So these are informal kind of assessments. We need not to introduce, we need not to give it such kind of date sheet in the classroom that you are going to have your tests on so and so date. So during the class, without any announcement, you can conduct such activities, right? So the first strategy for today is C3 before me. C3 before me. So what can you understand by this? C3 before me. Please do ping in the chat box. C3 before me. Yes. If you know, please do ping in the chat box. C3. Anyone? Any answers? Any guesses? C3 before me. Continuous. Create. Continuous, comprehensive, coordinate, collaborate. 3 people in a group. Wonderful. It is, yeah, you are nearing to the responses. C3 before me. Children, before you approach the teacher for any of the question, for any of the queries, you need to get responses from 3 of the students, from your peer group, from your partners. That can be there in a group, that can be there in the classroom. You need to have at least 3 responses before seeking the help of a teacher. Here comes, as somebody has rightly pinged in the chat box, collaboration. Yeah, collaborative, critical thinking, all these skills. Think, pair, share. Wonderful. It's a kind of think, pair, share strategy, right? Where we work collaboratively. Our critical thinking skills are being developed. Buddy system. When Veniji has written buddy system. Yeah. So in that case, we don't have only one buddy. We look for at least 3 responses. You see, as in when we have any kind of calculation too, we check any kind of test, we rely on at least more than 2 kinds of responses, then we take average of that, right? So here also we should follow this strategy. Before we seek the help of a teacher, let us go for buddy system, take help from our peers, and we'll be able to get to know about responses for our students, right? C3 before me, read it like this. This policy encourages students to look in 3 places to find the answer before they contact the instructor. So as very well said, already you have typed in the chat box, community building and analysis, evolution, problem solving. How come? When you will be asking the peer group, as students are asking the peer group for their feedback, for their responses, you will be able to analyze as students whether that response is correct or not. So that kind of problem solving skills are being developed when you are taking initiative, right? So you are volunteering to ask others for the questions. And how are you asking? Your communication skills are being developed, and time management skills. If you are giving proper time to your students, like before you coming to me, I give you 5 to 10 minutes. Please make sure you collect at least 3 responses, analyze it, and still if you have any doubt, you come to me. So time management skills, taking initiative, communication skill, all these skills are being enhanced for our students. Hope you like this strategy. It is some improvised version of think, pair, share strategies. Yes, hesitation is removed. Gurvinder ji has written. Sabiha ji has written, like, students will develop confidence. Wonderful. Yeah, certainly. It is related to 3 to 1 strategy. Well, somebody, Vaishali ji, has written like 3 to 1 strategy. That is also a kind of variation. See, some of the strategies, they are interlinked. They are a variation of each other. 3 to 1 strategy is a kind of reflection strategy. That is quite different from it, right? That is also having different variations. 3 to 1, 3 to 1 bridge strategy. Those are different reflection strategy. Now, second strategy we're going to talk about. Let me see if you can guess. Let me see. Okay. Jimmy ji has written building social relationship. Yes. Fly, good fly. Yeah, when we are flying, flight, we have to take a flight. What we do? Exploring, travel. Okay. When we have to plan any kind of work, it can be any meeting, we have to go to school, we have to go to office, we have to have journey, travel on any of the means, by road, by air, by railways. What do we do? What do we do before planning any journey? What do we do? Yeah, for journey. for any kind of plan, prepare. Yes. Checklist, wonderful. We create our own checklist. We create our checklist. So now the strategy that we're going to talk about is pre-flight checklist, right? As we make our list ready, what all things we require before we have to board our flight. We have to check passport is there, or are all other things are there, required things, everything is well set. We even cross check multiple number of times so that we should not miss anything. So this is a kind of peer assessment strategy. Yeah, we plan our itinerary. Some Archana ji has written pre-planning, Vikas ji has written, Rashida ji written make arrangements. Yeah, wonderful. So we have to create that. So when we are talking about peer assessment, to check several clear requirements that have been submitted, it can be for any kind of report submission, right? If we want our students to submit report, questions, hypothesis, method, result, conclusion, what all parameters, it's a kind of rubric. Assess for assessment, we need to check whether everything is in place or not. Before the work is presented to the teacher, we want the same to be checked by a buddy or the peer group, and that checklist has to be signed by the buddy so that, I mean, one ensures like each and everything is perfect. Every student, right from grade 6th to onwards 10th or 12th standard, they make their portfolios. 6th to 10th, most probably in CBSE schools, but most of the schools are there where even the children, they do in the primary classes also, they create their portfolios. So for the portfolios, there are a few points that are to be taken care of: the format, margins, diagrams, graph, labeling, acknowledgement, glossary, and citations. That is also very important because we want to teach our students like plagiarism is really not good. They should not be copying each other's work, not copying data from internet or whatever. They can take ideas, they're always welcome, but the work should be original. So these kind of any points as per the requirement, they can make in a checklist and will be different for different subjects. For that, we would want them to check it from their buddy. So that is pre-flight checklist. Assign a buddy, ensure the completion of the checklist, sign off the checklist, and then the final submission to the teacher. If you have any queries regarding this pre-flight checklist, please do ping in the chat box. Then we would be doing for another strategy. Yeah. I hope this is clear to you. Pre-flight checklist, you will be able to use it in your, both are clear. Wonderful. Thank you. Thanks for giving me go ahead for signing off my checklist. Thank you. So let's now talk about teaching strategy number 3 for today. As you can see, it's a traffic light strategy. Usually when we talk about traffic light colors, we talk about maybe this is meant only for junior grades. No, you can use it in any age group, right? So here you go. This actually we want to activate students as the owners of their learning. Let the children decide whether any topic is clear to them, right? Perfectly. They are giving a green signal, as you have given me a green signal to go ahead. Yes, both the strategies are okay and I can move ahead. And yellow, if you want bit more clarity on particular topic, they will be showing a yellow signal. And if they want, sorry, this is not clear to us, we want you to recapitulate or maybe conduct the session again for us. So that means it would be a red signal for us. So here, see, teacher shares the learning intentions. We take care of student plays, self-report. It's a kind of self-assessment, right? And we do have to rely on our children's responses, right? So, you know, very good. You can also do one thing. You can make different corners in the classroom, right? You can say all the children with any of the topic, if you announce in the class, children with the red symbols, you can ask over here, they should come to me. And greens, they will be helping the yellows. because greens are having everything clear. They will be able to clear the doubts of the children who are having a little bit difficulty in moving ahead. Some of the confusions are there. And yellows, now yellows, they have to make sure greens they understand. I mean, when they are going for any help to greens, greens are making understand all the concepts to yellow. So if yellows are satisfied, so it means that actually a signal greens are having all the concepts clear. So this is one version of this strategy. And here it is. For example, right now I am taking a class. I am talking about various strategy. And while talking in the class, you may keep on the desk two kinds of discs, colors, pictures, glasses, anything available with the group. When you are discussing, if the children, they are showing in the middle of the lesson red disc, right? It means they want to ask some questions. And if they are showing green discs, mean they are giving a signal to us to be continuing with the flow of this lesson. Let me check the chat box if anybody has written. Ma'am, how do we practically do this in online classes? Yes, we can do the same in the online classes. As I'll just tell you, I mean, Padlet is a wonderful tool where you will be able to create different columns and you may share the link with the children. And for Padlet already, comprehensive detailed session is available on Teach a Class, as sir has showed you in the beginning. So you will be able to check it out, how the Padlet can be used for this strategy. So next comes is another strategy, colored cups. I told you there can be number of variation. Anything, any object with these colors can be kept on the desk and students will be able to show, for example, like you can create your own variations. Like I am teaching in a class, if I am going so fast, right? So students want me to a bit slow down. They can show yellow cup. They want to ask a question, they can raise a red cup or keep it on the desk. Okay, and it creates a kind of engagement in the class. We want our students to be completely engaged without speaking anything, right? So without creating any kind of disturbance. So now the next strategy that we are going to talk about is, what is the strategy? Can you guess? Sorry, I can't see the chat box now.
Ma'am,
Yes.
one of the teacher has asked that there's a question like, how do we practically do this during the online session, like online classes? How we can test these activities?
During online classes, the thing is either you can share the link on a Google form. It depends upon you which platform you are using, right? So Zoom is there, Google Classroom is there, Microsoft Team is there, any kind of platform that you are using. Yeah, like, or you may create some kinds of link in the Padlet, right? Yellow group is there, green group is there, and red is there. So you have to be very, very interactive. You can share the screen online, right? Where children will be able to put their points in a relevant column, right? In a Padlet, you can create different 7 types of columns you can create, right? Different 7 types of Padlets are there. So you can create different columns and you can ask them to ping their insight, right? So now I'm going to talk about plus minus equals strategy, right? Plus minus equals, PME strategy. So it marks how do we grade our children's work? Either we give them marks. What are the other strategy for you to grade students' work? May I know that? Can you ping in the chat box, please?
Adding their own contribution, telling and repeating the same.
Yeah. Yes, wonderful.
And just said plus minus equal. See, just mention the strategy which you have just shared.
And I want to know how to rate your students' work. Marks, yes.
Calculation of marks.
Yeah.
Grades.
Yes. Anything else?
Not yet. Graph
Okay.
each child. Levels graph of each child.
Yes. Wonderful. So we have different strategies. We either give marks to our students, we give grades to our students, we give remarks also sometimes, right? And what else we do? Sometimes, whether we denote it with stars or emojis for junior grades, we have different patterns, different styles of marking or grading our students' work. But when you give marks or grades to your students, when you hand over the answer sheets to them, what do your students do first? Where do they look at? Marks, grades, or remarks? What do they look at first? Ping in the chat box.
Feedbacks, remarks, marks, remark. All of most of them saying remarks.
Yes.
Remarks,
First of
5
all,
points.
okay, I would like ask you, Mr. Anuj, what do you look at? I mean, if you get a sheet and there are marks also, there are remarks also, what will you look at first?
So I'll look at 2 marks first, because
Uh-huh.
first I just need to know how much I have got it. Then
Yes.
if I got the like good marks, then I'll positively see towards the remarks. But if I get the less mark, I'll see in a fear what remarks teacher has given.
Yes. You see, if I tell you, students, certainly, rightly said by sir, students first have a look at marks, how many marks they have got. Then maybe if it's a grade policy, they'll be looking at the grade. And after that, what do? They read the remarks later. They first see how many marks have been scored by the peer group. Am I right or not? Like how many marks have been scored by your friend? Look at the Three Idiots movie. They were checking like how many marks they have been scored by their friends, their grading and all, right? So if they are more or less, accordingly we are being affected, right? We check it out. That gives us more a lot of satisfaction. Like if we are getting more marks as compared to our peer group, we get a kind of satisfaction. I have got more marks than my friend or whatsoever. I mean, this kind of tell me, am I right or wrong? It happens. Friends के marks से ज्यादा आ
You are,
जाए तो दुख होता है.
yes, it happens.
So, I mean, because our trend, our policy is like that, we have created a kind of competition in our class. Can we create a healthy competition? Competition with oneself. If I encourage my students to be best versions of themselves. I ask my students, you have to compete with yourself. Your only and only competitor is you only. Every day you should try to become the best version of yourself. That is a healthy competition, right? For that, this strategy plus minus equals. If along with giving such kind of grades and marks, whatever our policy is, if we can grade our students' work as compared to the previous work, that would be a wonderful strategy as per me. I hope you would agree with me. If I have attempted in one test and the same test, or maybe a little bit variation is there in the test of the same chapter is being conducted again, of those same topics is being conducted again, and if as a teacher, instead of giving just only marks or grade, if I compare that student's work with the previous work, with the previous assessment, and I rate it accordingly, whether the child has got a plus, child has got a minus, or the child has got equals, that would be creating a healthy spirit among all the students. I hope you would agree with me. Kindly ping your remarks in the chat box. Yes. May I have any kind of responses, your suggestions? Yes, I
Yes, I
agree.
agree. Yes, there are responses, ma'am. So,
Yes.
okay. Just a sec. Absolutely, yes. As a teacher, we keep the remarks positive and encouraging. Yes, friend. And also, yes, I agree. Students should compete with themselves only. There's also a comment is that, ma'am, that will be great way to assess the differentiate among the students. Sorry, yeah. Just a second. Yeah, different. Okay. Because of the chat is come. Okay. Let me do one thing. Let it make it big. Yeah. Our school had devised a method of giving achievement star where child gets star if he has improved from his previous achievement. Uh, Ma'am, that will be a great way to assess the differentiation teacher has done if a child's individual progress is scrutinized.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Also, yeah,
See,
also,
I even, yes, sir,
yeah,
please, sir, go
yeah.
ahead.
One of the teacher also suggested that we can make the system where the student don't fight like compete with the marks, but we have troubles with the parents. Like parents always see towards the mark.
Oh, yes, but see, we need some kind of parent counseling sessions for that. That is very, very important. Parents do not understand easily. They look at marks because who are the parents of our age group? There is a lot of gap now. 21st century learners, they have to be taught in a different manner. And we are understanding because we are continuous learners. And parents, sometimes they are not able to understand. That is a challenging situation for us. For that, we need to have constant counseling sessions for them. That is the requirement, and slowly and gradually they'll understand, right? So wonderful. I really appreciate whosoever has written, like they do appreciate the student for their improvement with respect to the previous performance. And now another strategy, can you ping in the chat box, what is this strategy? Yes.
2 star and a wish.
Yeah, 2 stars and a wish. This strategy is a wonderful strategy because can be used in various formats. It can be used as reflection strategy. It can be used as self-assessment strategy. It can be used as peer assessment strategy. You can, for the portfolios, when we are talking about 360-degree holistic assessment, as a teacher, you can assess through this strategy. And even you can ask, please make sure you involve parents also in a 360-degree assessment. I don't know what all culture you are following in your schools and all. You always ask for feedback for a particular activity from the parents also. Send that kind of chits. That will only be a 360-degree assessment. So 2 stars and a wish. So here it has different versions depending upon the subject, depending upon the age group, and depending upon the situation, the topic that you have given to the students. For example, if a child is assessing his or her own work, the child can write, while completing this project, my favorite part to deal with was this. We'll be talking about that self-assessment. We'll get to know about likes and dislikes. Then I like particular doing this thing, and for the next time you can, or I can, I mean, if I'm assessing my work, I'll be writing next time I'll be able to do this better, right? And if you are assessing, you will be able to check your students' work. You have to give 2 positive points, appreciate for 2 of the efforts by the child, and 1 area of improvement. Because we always talk about, we all have strengths, we all have areas of improvement. So accordingly, you give a base to your students to check for different kinds of assessments. Any comments in the chat box? If you can read it for me. Yeah. Okay, let me see. What went well? And even if better, teacher can assess ourselves by what students can do. Yes, stars is a reflection strategy, assessment for children. Yes, wonderful. Thank you all of you for your wonderful remarks, and keep buzzing the chat box. So it's a kind of strategy I told you can be done as self-assessment or peer assessment, right? We can assess the work, decide how happy we are with a particular piece of work, and what are the areas of improvement, right? So here are a number of variations in which you will be able to use this strategy as a self or peer assessment. Even I would like to tell you, you will be able to give some kind of phrases to your students. Like they can, if they're little children, they need any kind of help. So you will be able to give them starters, for framing sentences. Like, I like this, I enjoy doing this, I learned this, I use this strategy, I use this kind of particular style while working. So this can be done. So what's this strategy? Ping in the chat box. And if you have any questions regarding the previous, do ping those questions as well. No entry. One academic, one non-academic, plus one area of improvement. Wonderful. Wonderful, Vani ji, Gurvinder ji. Stop. Time up. Okay. More guesses? Some more guesses? Discipline. Pause. Don't raise hand. Oh, wonderful. This is what I just wanted to talk about. It's a no hand raise policy. What do we do in our class? As and when we ask questions, what do we expect? Students to raise their hands. I know. When we say don't speak, just raise your hands. Don't speak, just raise your hands. Like, what do? We just focus only and only on those students. We ask them, those who have raised their hands. Now, what about others who have not raised their hands? They don't know the answer, or they know the answer, but they do not want to come forward. They are a little shy. They do not want to come in front, or maybe they are having some kind of questions. Maybe my answer is incorrect. So these kind of questions can be there in the mind of the students. They hesitate. Wonderful. They don't have that much confidence. Yeah. And we want to include all our students, right? For that, what we are talking about is a no hand raise policy, PPPB, triple PB strategy that we are going to quickly talk about with that before our time ends. Time up, as somebody has written. As PPPB strategy: pause, pounce, and bounce strategy. You need to pose a question in front of your class, all the students, right? To the whole class. Then pause for some time. Pause, give them some thinking time. That is really very important, because sometimes it happens, we ask the question, immediately students raise their hands and we expect them to answer. What about others? Everybody needs some time to process. Some children, they quickly answer. Some children, they need some time to answer. So for that, we need to pause and then pounce on any one of the students from the class. Suppose from a class of 25 students or maybe 40 students, I have asked, pose the question to the entire class, paused for 1 or 2 minutes, and then I pounced on, suppose roll number 34 or any of the child's name I am taking, and then I'll want the response from that child, and then I'll bounce that response to another child, because I want to involve more children. I want another child to give the feedback on the response given by that roll number 34, 35, whosoever I ask the question. So this is a way in which we discourage this hand raising policy, right? So what are your suggestions about it? Yeah. Yes. So here, as you can see, pose a question, pause for some time. Pausing is difficult for us teachers now. So we need to learn. We need to have some patience, pause for time, and then pounce and then bounce. So use this strategy in the class, usually for open-ended questions, because if we are asking closed-ended questions, then we won't be able to bounce the questions to another children for their opinion, right? So this is a beautiful comic strip that is explaining PPPB strategy, right? You may take a screenshot and read it later. We are having paucity of time. So this is another strategy that we're going to discuss before time ends. Let me quickly discuss with you. This is choose, swap, choose strategy. If you have any idea, ping in the chat box. If you have questions to the previous strategy, do ping in the chat box your comments. Pounce and wonderful. I really like this compliment. Can we have the recording of the session to pounce and bounce? Certainly, certainly. You need to pounce and you need to bounce. I mean, your comments are always welcome. As sir has shared in the beginning, this recording will be available on their platform, Teach a Class. So please make sure you go and check that recording. So that will be available. So choose, swap, choose. It's a peer reflection strategy. It's a buddy system, right? Where if you have assigned any task to your students, any project work is there, any assignment, any worksheet they have done, before submitting that work to the teacher, you ask them, swap the worksheet, swap the project work with each other, give comments or compliments or suggestions, any kind of area of improvement is there, you need to work on that. And then accordingly, first you will choose, pick and choose, and then you will swap, and then you will choose again, right? So this is a kind of strategy that can be used as a peer assessment. So how this work is, peer feedback can be very useful. You know that I'm not going to read all this. What is to be done is, we choose a good example of our work. For example, they are creating their portfolio. For that, they have to present the best work. Suppose they have done 10 map works they have done. I'm just giving example from social science randomly. 10 map works they have done, and they are selecting the best work, right? They will choose 3 or 4 samples of the work. They will submit to the partner, and the partner then chooses, like, from it, this is the best work. According to me, this is perfect, and this to be added in the portfolio. So here we learn to appreciate others' decision. We learn to appreciate others' ideas, right? So we include others in that kind of suggestive work. So this is a wonderful peer feedback strategy. Please do use the same in your classes to enhance collaboration. This is really very important. So, sir, can I go for one more strategy before we end today's session? I mean, if we have time, I just want to know how
Sure,
much
ma'am.
time do we have?
Ma'am, you have like around 5 to 10 minutes. You can go ahead.
Great, thank you. So here we're going to talk about 4 corners strategy, right? So won't be, giving a lot of introduction because I want to cover maximum number of strategies with you. 4 corners strategy. This is used for open-ended questions, or you may go for any kind of, nowadays in the school, we are having assertion reason questions where we are giving 4 options to our students, right? MCQs, all the students, they have participated 10th standard, 12th standard board examination, open-ended questions, there are assertion reason questions. So here in your classroom, you need to label the room into 4 corners, right? And give different kinds of labels. Like here I have labeled it strongly agree, somewhat agree, somewhat disagree, and strongly disagree. So when you have asked any question in the class, after that, you ask your students to write a few points on a piece of paper, whether, in favor of their selective corner, right? In favor of their selective response. And then students will be asked to go to the respective corner with their points, and there they will be sharing, discussing their points with the peer group, with the other students that are present in that corner, right? And accordingly, then they will modify their responses. If they are, they'll discuss the same. And together there will be group presentation from that particular corner. So you will be able to get number of responses. Again, see, let me tell you, think, pair, share. This strategy is a part of each and every strategy. We want children to think, because these all are cooperative learning strategy. We want our children to cooperate, to collaborate, right? So they are thinking, they are sharing their response with others, and then they are presenting the same in front of the class. So here is another example. Children should be allowed to use gadgets in the class. So, again, there's a variation in the responses. Absolutely agree. Yes, we agree, but no, we don't agree, but we agree in a particular situation. No way, we do not agree with that. So any kind of options, I mean, are allowed. That depends upon you, that depends upon the subject, that depends upon the questions, right? So these are kind of open-ended questions are there. Apart from it, if you want to have any kind of debate discussion in your class, you can put four you see labels in the four corners of the class, and you may ask your students to write about any of the topic, and but they will not be discussing with each other that time. That would be individual point writing on different topics that they have written, and then they will be allowed to go to the particular corner, and there they will get their partners, their discussion will happen, and then they will do. For example, this point will be clear to you from this image. If I'm talking about botany class, I want to talk about different kinds of venation. I want my students to either talk about different flowers, leaves, sponge gourd, pinwheel, daisy, rose. They are writing different points in their notebook or a piece of paper. I'll give them 5 to 10 minutes to jot the points. And after that, I'll ask them, okay, fine, quickly now you move to your corners with your points. So they will be able to move to their respective corners. As you can see here, the children, they are there in their corners with their responses, with their points, right? And there they will be able to have different groups. See, every group is having two, or maybe three students. If in a group, there is only one child left, but well, how will, I mean, sharing will happen? Their teacher has to be a part of that group. You need to discuss the same as a partner, as a peer group with the child, and accordingly discussion will happen. So please use this strategy in your class. This is very, very engaging strategy, right? Now, before I talk about this, I want to check the responses in the chat box. If anything is there. For online mode, can we use Google Jamboard? Wonderful, ma'am. Google Jamboard, Microsoft Interactive Board can be used. Padlet, I frequently use for number of activities, right? Wonderful. I mean, that can be used. So it's another strategy. Maybe at the end today, I want to talk about, so just a minute, jam strategy. You may ask your students to talk about any of the given topic for a minute, no pauses, no hesitations, no repetitions. 3 strikes and you are out. So, I mean, this is a strategy in which you encourage your students to develop their working memory. See, we have a memory, working memory, short-term memory in which we can store a few of the things that we have to quickly respond to, right? Other things we store in a long-term memory. To bring the same to our working memory or our storage memory, wherever we are storing the same, or RAM and ROM I'm talking about, right? So when you have to bring the same to the working memory, so this is a very wonderful idea. Please make sure you use the same in your class. Before we end today's session, I just want to share with you one tool. I just want to share with you what is to be done. That is a wonderful tool for you to create different kinds of interactive formative assessment worksheets. Use the same in your class. Let me share my screen. It won't take more than a minute. Just let me share. I suppose my screen is visible. So here is a tool. Please do explore it. And maybe in the upcoming days, sir will be organizing another session to explore this tool in detail. This is flippity.net. Flippity.net. I'll just share the link in the chat box. Make sure you explore the same. Flippity.net. Freely available tool to create interactive worksheets. I'm just giving you an idea because we don't have much time to explore this tool. For each and different kinds of interactive formative assessment worksheets, for each different format, you will be able to get one demo and instructions, right? You click on that, flashcards are there, random name picker, quiz show, number of strategies are there. Make sure you explore the same. and keep on sharing your feedback with the teacher class. If you need any kind of help, we'll be arranging a session again soon, as sir will be able to arrange. And some of the strategies that I have shared with you, many of them are available in detail on my channel, as well as Mentoring the Mentors. As sir has initially said, I'm enhancing teachers' professional development. I'm helping them to accelerate their learning curve. So you may check my channel also, Mentoring the Mentors, and stay connected to Teach Class. Thank you, sir, for this wonderful opportunity. The floor is all yours.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for conducting such a great session for all of our teachers. I can see teachers have enjoyed the session and they are looking forward already towards the next session, which we haven't finalized yet. But thank you so much, teachers, for all the participation, all the energy you have brought during the sessions. Before we take the questions, ma'am, I'm just sharing few links with the teachers. So teachers, we have some upcoming live sessions. So tomorrow we are going to have a session on Mentimeter, where we'll share the more details on how a teacher can use a Mentimeter to create interactive presentations